Welcome back to 10 Tenths Podcast. I'm your host, Robert, and I'm here with the Adams. Adam and Adam Jabaay.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing, Adam and Adam?
I'm in my garage holding up a computer because you guys want to do YouTube things.
Was it really nice there today?
Here, yeah. It was like 45 degrees out today. It was beautiful.
It's so good.
It was like 50 here.
Yeah, it was great. I love
bad.
it. You know, if we could just coast this out till like March and then climb back up again.
No, it's going to be...
I know,
right?
man. I could go for 35 degrees minimum.
Yeah,
like 50.
absolutely.
I think we're in the
I can
wrong
actually go for
states.
that all year long.
No. We need the 70, 75, 80 degree
70
days.
is nice, but 55 for a high, like put a sweatshirt on.
No.
T-shirt weather.
No.
Your
It's
balls
still
never
too-
get sweaty.
Still too cold.
Nah, I need a T-shirt weather.
About halfway through
Robin
the
needs
day.
sweaty balls, man.
I need sweaty balls.
About halfway through the day, I had to get in my trailer and strip down a few layers because I was over prepared for the day.
That's not
I
like
was
you
getting
at
the
all.
sweaty balls.
No, so you're the opposite. You're always cold.
Robbie, you just think that.
You never wear a coat. You're always in a
That's because
in a
I'm
sweater.
always inside. If you saw me at work, it's a whole different situation.
All right.
I always wear sweatshirts, too. I don't wear a coat most of the time.
I hate driving with coats on.
No, man.
It's awful.
I got layers on layers. I got like a thermal and
Yeah.
a T-shirt, and a
Jabaay knows that.
sweatshirt,
What's
and then I
up?
put my big old Carhartt hoodie on like a man.
He gets it. You don't wear a jacket, a coat while you're driving.
No,
Unless
it's dangerous.
10 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's super terrible, then I'll wear my junky old jacket, but that's about it.
I bought brand new coveralls this year, so it's not going to get that cold this year. You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good. Don't pick my nose hairs here while I'm looking at the camera.
This is a professional podcast. And look at you.
Children watch
Yeah.
this.
I don't think, like Matt Williams' kids.
They're already messed up. It's
Those aren't
fine,
kids. Those are already tiny, angry Tennesseans. they probably got guns already, and they're like 1 and 4.
right?
Yeah, you get that on your first birthday.
Every Sunday.
I've met their mom, and that girl's crazy.
Well, she's married to Matt Williams.
Yeah, they're rad people. They're like my favorite people. I want to live next to Matt and Krista so bad.
Me too, but only because of where he lives.
Yeah.
I mean, living next to Matt would be great, but where he lives is what really pulls me in.
Yeah, I drive like 12 minutes to the best road in the country.
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
So good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be terrible. And then, like, if you got a day off of work, like Matt's staying home with the kids, and they get to work on your car with you. Man, it sounds like the best neighbor ever.
Yeah.
At night, he sidles up to your garage with his little like gas can bar with
His canteen
like,
thing.
Yeah, have you seen that thing? It's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
baddest.
He always has it at Grid Life.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. So, how are my levels? Because it's the beginning of a podcast. I'm supposed to ask that. It's a rule.
Well,
that I have.
we checked it before we started, so I think they're okay. I'm
Yeah,
still.
but you got to ask it on the podcast.
How are my levels? I think they look good. Last week they were bad. I admit that. I'm learning. Give me a break.
No, they actually sounded pretty good for 2 Girls, 1 Cup. It was great.
Oh,
I'm glad someone else got that reference.
I'm sure a lot of people got that reference, Robbie. I don't think that was.
I figured it
That
wasn't
didn't
over
fall on
anyone's
deaf
head.
ears.
No, didn't. No, I'm glad you guys are still doing it, and now I get to announce myself as not the next host
It's not. It's
because I realized I don't have any time, and you don't
Yeah,
want me.
that was like the first thing he said to me. Like, I immediately said no.
No, we need you to
Well,
be local.
I didn't offer to not to be the host. I offered to be on the show a bunch because I like talking to you idiots.
I appreciate
but I'm
that.
not coming to Iowa, man. Not happening.
We'll come to you one of these days. I'll get that
Sounds
hug.
good.
We're gonna see you next weekend.
I'm hugging. I'm
yeah,
hugging
PRI
you.
is like in 5 days, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah. All right, 7 days. I'll be leaving for PRI in 7 days.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Ours will be in 8.5 days.
Are you guys getting there on Friday or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come down there Friday.
Okay. I'll be leaving on Saturday morning, so I'll see you Friday night. It'll be a party.
Yep.
Sounds
That's the
good.
plan. It was just in case anybody hasn't heard that yet. Go karting. Go to
Yeah, I
Grid
think we're
Life's
go-karting at,
Facebook
what,
page.
Speedway?
There's an event there.
Speedway
can find
carts?
it.
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know.
Cart battle.
It's Chris's problem. It's not my problem.
Yeah, it's on the Grid Life Facebook page. And what more do you
Yeah,
want?
there's
It's a
sign-up
Facebook
sheet.
event.
It's mostly signed up already.
I wasn't going to sign up.
I'm just
going
gonna
to
show up.
I just want to hang
There
out
will,
with people.
if everything goes well, there will be, I believe, three run groups at the end that are open. So you can probably buy
That's
spots
okay.
at.
That's the silly
if you
goose
wanna
run.
That's what
well, after like there's gonna be like a little tournament. Like it'll be, I think you get 2 runs, and then the top 10 of like the 60 or whatever get to battle it out in the final race.
I know that I'm super slow. I don't need a bunch of Time Attack and GLTC drivers showing me just how slow I am.
Man body that is like 210 pounds of not fast in a go-kart.
I can beat that.
Yeah. Although when I'm wearing like a bunch of layers, like it looks more like there's pecs here.
Look how strong and handsome you are.
Right, baby. I'm starting to look like a race car driver again.
Nice.
Hitting that diet.
Yeah. Oh, and I heard Robbie got a new one of these thingers. I aired it.
I started on it.
Robbie, have you ever heard of a riv nut? Because that's what you need in your life.
I got
riv nuts in your life.
I have got riv nuts, but I was using rivets.
You said you use rivets.
I did use rivets.
Those are too permanent, Robbie.
Yeah, rivets.
I'm committing.
When you crash the car into a tire wall at Gateway, you're going to want riv nuts.
I can fix it. It's fine. I got so much extra material.
Do you have a riv nut tool? Because you need to get one.
I do have a riv nut tool, actually.
Oh, they're so fun, dude.
They're good times.
I stare at my car and I think, like, what can I like make?
What can I riv nut on this?
Just like cut off the quarter panels and riv nut them back on.
Well, I was just talking to Adam before we called you. It's like I need to stop posting pictures before things are done because all the comments were like, "What about the radiator flow?" It's like it's not done.
Nice drag car, bro.
Is this Time Attack or what? I mean, we're trying to make the minimum amount of drag we can.
I can never tell if they're fucking with me or if they're being serious. It's like,
I would just assume.
It's the internet.
Yeah.
You ever heard of it? It's super serial.
I'm new here. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Every post that Adam makes is super serial on the internet, don't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, according to like Track Midwest. Like,
man. Why did you leave?
I came back just because, like, I don't know. I'm thinking about leaving again. I got mad at like I didn't get mad at.
Maybe we don't want to talk about it here.
Well, it's a long story. So
yeah.
A big part. I mean, we got time for a story, I guess.
We got all nothing but time, man.
A big part of like what I like about events is like the vibe and the feel and the general fun. And most of our events have a really good vibe and a really good feel and like a good camaraderie. And like that's the culture that I want to build. And like Chris and I we were talking about Chris Stewart, the main bro dog of Grid Life. We were talking about culture and like vibe and like if you just walked into like a Grid Life paddock, like would it still be like the same super welcoming place that it was 2 years ago? And we would hope that most of the time it is, but like this Track Midwest stuff with like if you ain't people are taking this like sub 140, like if you're not sub 140 as a Gingerman, like you ain't shit. Like there's some dummies out there that like think that Dewey and his friends are serious. And
yeah,
like,
the comments sure seem that way.
Yeah, it like made me sad. Even though like I love all these idiots that are joking about sub 140 memes, and like most of them listen to the podcast and I text with them all the time, and like I know their vibe, but like Joe what's his face with his like Subaru or his Evo, like that isn't a friend of all of us, doesn't know that vibe, and it just like bummed me out. And then I don't remember, but I started like arguing with Devin Giles about something in moderation world of Track Midwest because I was a moderator, and I was like, "Fine, Devin, you don't have a problem anymore," and I just like clicked and left. So, and then I realized that my internet life like got more chill, and I was like, "Oh man, Facebook is different without Track Midwest." And I thought, this is fine too. And I forgot about it. And then somebody called me on like, how come you're not on Track Midwest? I was trying to ask your opinion on something. And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
send me an email.
Yeah,
Adam
yeah. So now I signed back up, and then like within 4 seconds, one of the moderators made a post like, "Who's this dummy?
Should I let him in?" No.
Yeah. In the questions, I had put something like balls or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there got to be another thread that I didn't want to partake in, and hopefully it died. But Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to like cleanse my internet life since we got done with event season, and like just look at things that have to do with that red POS up there, or this blue POS down here, or any of like the things that I have to fix and put into them, and like and try to have a little bit of an off season, even though it's not really off season right now. We're kind of in planning mode. It took a long time to get the schedule ready. And like, it's still, you get a lot of emails every day about next year and questions about how come you're not going to South anymore, Atlanta,
I'm sure you're
or whatever.
getting hounded with those.
Do you want to address that?
I think it's been
we're
addressed.
not going to Atlanta?
I think it's been addressed. I think anybody who wants to know already knows.
Have you read the
Atlanta
comment
was a great
section?
event.
No, it's not. Everyone wants to know.
It was a great event for 4 years. It was a hard event. It was our furthest away event until we did Colorado. A hard
Which
event.
is the best.
Colorado was really good.
Oh,
really
so good.
Atlanta was a hard event money wise because it's a very expensive track, and we would always try to bring real a wish list for us, like the highest we could reach as far as talent and stuff goes, money wise for music, and like all the big drifters loved it, and it was like a thing that really helped build the Grid Life name. I think it took us out of just being like a one event thing with some support series to like being like 2 festivals. But it took a lot of effort. And so a lot of that effort needs to go into what we feel is going to probably be like the best future event, which is Pikes Peak. And it also sort of, it was just too much last year. We only had like 3 weeks in between those 2 festivals. So something, had to give. And like, so we thought it was a really good 4 years, and we thank everybody that came out, and we hope that the friends that we made will follow us around to other events for a while. We might be back. We're going to try to do more stuff in the South. But we just got to kind of shift our focus, and hopefully it's really more of a moving circus too. Like if we do a 3rd festival, it would be somewhere and then somewhere else, and kind of bring the party to different places. So you can only do so many things with a tiny team too. So
I think a lot of people don't realize how small the Grid Life team really is,
and how much work goes into that.
Well, I don't think anybody underestimates
it's not a big
the work,
full,
maybe,
like
but
we only have basically, besides like we only really have 2 full-time people, and then Chris and myself, and then we've got like a bunch of, and I'm not full-time. I'm always available, and I'm on a lot of calls, but I'm not in the office that much. Chris and Sean and Gabe are really the only ones in the office that much. We got Mike, who is part-time, and Abe is kind of on retainer. Like he shows up to events and answers emails, but like we got a few people that are like Abe. But like it's like 3 people in the office. Like it's nothing crazy, because it can't be. It can't be crazy.
Yeah, no.
Not a lot of money in this.
No.
I think that's the other thing, is that people think you're just raking it in hand over fist.
If I was raking it in hand over fist, I wouldn't be putting crappy single cam engines in my race car, and my race car would not be that.
You wouldn't be selling everything you have just floating around the house to try and put enough money together to build another engine?
Yeah, and to like, I'm trying to sell my enclosed trailer because I'm just going to use an open trailer next year with 2 cars on it, and I want to like have a good Christmas for my daughter.
I get that.
So yeah,
I really get that.
Yeah, just selling a bunch of junk laying around. So I can fix these things. Although the blue car is still in good shape, but like it needs tires and like brakes. But kind of go through the race cars. The blue car I only own 1/4 of, so I only have to pay for 1/4 of the things. But
That's how you
That's
do
good.
it.
yeah, only 1/4 of race cars. Rad, because then you only have to pay for 1/4 of the wheel bearings and the tires, and yeah, and then if it lives with you, you get to use them for most of the time. But
Bam.
yeah, so how's 10/10's life? Are you guys settling into a new studio?
Yeah, we're in the new Kanga Motorsports studio in my basement.
Robbie's been putting a ton of work into this.
I've tried.
I'm super impressed with all the things he's figured out.
Do you have any like sick pictures of James's race car up in that studio yet? Or no?
Not yet.
He's sending me a surprise banner.
You just got like a 6x6 kangaroo hanging on the wall?
Yeah.
No, I have. It's an 11 by 17.
Yeah, it's bigger than
I
that.
printed it at work.
That's cool.
It's white against his green wall background. It's fine.
I don't know why they painted this wall green.
It's not a good green.
No, it's like a puke green.
I'm actually standing where my studio usually parks. This is usually where
Is your studio out and about tonight?
Yeah, is your wife not home?
No, her and Emma are gone right now.
Nice.
They'll probably try to come home midway through this recording.
Yeah,
but I
perfect.
turned the garage door off.
I was like, Jess will be home shortly, but I got the dog shocker in case he starts barking. The podcast is priority. Barking dogs
dog
are not.
shocker? So it's got something to do with this.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it's to keep my dog from barking.
Yeah, 2 in the pink, 1 in the.
We don't do that in Iowa, man.
Come on.
That's probably all you doing. That probably came out of Iowa. Just got all that time.
We're not
after
that
harvest
bored
time, there's
here.
nothing
Come
to
on
do, right?
now.
That's like a Nebraska thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not Nebraska.
Makes sense. I forgot about Nebraska. Everybody forgets about Nebraska.
Exactly.
Man, I drove through Nebraska on the way to Colorado with Adam, and I was like, man, this place sucks.
Dude, so we're driving through Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in an RV with 3 other city folk, right?
Yeah.
Complete and total city folk.
So you're a country folk.
I'm
yeah.
not that
By
city.
comparison.
I live in the
I don't know. I don't know,
are,
man.
You're big city. Just deal with it.
Compared to us, you're big city.
You might be in the suburbs, but you're still big city. The town I live in, we have 1 stoplight. 1. So
That's a lot of stoplights.
So
You guys are really moving
and,
on.
we're driving along, right?
Okay.
Well, I think we were coming home, and we're a little bit delirious because it's been
You've been awake for
whirlwind
like
of a shit
96
show.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a crop duster flying around, and these 2 are
so
like
rad.
losing their minds over it, like they've never seen it
Dude, was
before.
like 18 feet off the highway. He was so close.
They happen all the time.
Yeah,
They're everywhere over here.
Crop dusters.
And I was like, oh man, I forgot how like not normal that is to someone who lives in the city.
No, like we don't have like 40-mile stretches of fields, so you don't
40.
see the. Like it was like 40, 50 miles straight before
way
you
more
like
than
see an
that.
exit.
It's way more than that.
Well, they would put an exit there for a little bit of time.
There's a gas station every 40, but
Yeah.
There's an exit every 10. There's just nothing
You got
on
to
it.
get your Casey's breakfast pizza somewhere.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was. I just thought it was cool how low that he would get to the highway. Like he was right over top the semi trucks.
It's really fascinating when they go between like power lines and shit.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh yeah.
I think he went under
we saw some of
once.
that.
I've seen it happen.
I think
It's
he went
dangerous,
under once.
And the craziest thing that we saw out in boring Iowa was right after we dropped Adam off.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this.
I don't know if I talked about this in any podcast, but like
No.
we're just driving down the road, and then like there was nobody really in front of us for like probably a quarter mile, and about a half a mile up the sun was like starting to set, so like it was the glare was in the mirrors and stuff, and I saw like a weird glare, like a flashing light for a second across the highway, probably half a mile up. And it was the windshield of a semi truck that was rolling over in the oncoming
Like
direction.
crashing.
Yes.
Crashing, like really crashing.
Flipped.
And
shit.
then huge dust cloud. He was carrying a load of like sheet steel, like probably 12-foot long, heavy gauge. But like if you pick it up, it bends, So it was probably not 1/8 inch, but like 16th inch thick, whatever gauge that would be. And these things were freaking heavy. And he was carrying like a pallet or 2 of that. And those things went flying everywhere. And luckily none of them like karate chopped a car and like killed a nun or anything.
Those are vicious. They'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, those sheets of it was like they were like giant Ginsu knives. So we tried to pick one up, and like one of the we pulled over, and then everybody in both directions stops because he like went across the median and into our lanes, and the truck like laid over on its side. And I mean, it was like carnage. It was dust everywhere, and steel sheets on both sides of the highway. And so we were like the first ones to pull up. And we hop out of the bus. It was my buddy Dave and then Mike Cohn. And we ran like a couple of trucks went by us after we pulled over. And then like everybody started stopping, and we like run up thinking we're going to find like a dead dude. Because this thing like laid over hard. It looked like it was going to roll over completely, but it laid over on was on the passenger side. And the windshield blew out and it went flying. And this dude is like unbuckling himself. And we're like, oh, good. He's not dead. He's like got blood all over his face and stuff. And he pulls out like the first thing he does, he's looking all disoriented, like, oh, man, what the F? Like, and then he like crawls back into his truck and he picks up like like a gallon Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Like he had one of those jam packed full of cigarettes. Like couldn't fit any more in this thing. It was like jam packed.
Like
used
grabs his
cigarette butt?
Used cigarette butts or like legit, like ready to go cigarettes?
Like ready to go, just bought them, put them all in a bag.
What in the world?
And he just starts chain smoking these things. And he's got what I believe is like a jitterbug flip phone. It had like 6 numbers on it. Like it was big. And he was probably 55 or 60. He must have passed out. But he starts like trying to call somebody, and like he could barely like stand up. But he was all right, and it was a freaking mess, man.
Jeez.
It looks so violent though to see this semi, and like it like rears up and like crap is flying everywhere. It looked like movie stuff.
I can't believe no one got more hurt than that.
Yeah, nobody got hurt. He had like a big gash on his head, but that was it. But it was a wild thing to see. You don't see that. I guess you see that in Iowa.
It's wild here.
You don't really see that.
It's wild here, man.
Yeah, man.
It's never a dull moment.
You see it here all the time. You gotta keep your eyes open here, man.
I spent my day looking for bullet holes in fiber, so
yeah,
that's a thing.
Bullet holes?
Yeah, someone shot through a fiber on a pole. It took me hours to find it.
Oh, that sucks.
It was the worst.
Yeah, at least it was nice and warm.
It was a crazy place, man.
Yeah, it was. That was a crazy trip, though. That was weird. Like you gave us like the rough coordinates to pick you up, and I don't even know if we totally stopped.
No, we didn't totally stop. They literally picked me up on the curb in front of my place I work at.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't stop. I was standing on the curb.
It just kind of slowed down. You jumped in.
Jabaay like pulls up, and there's cars behind him. So the side door just opens up, and I toss my bags in there, and Mike grabbed my hand and pulled me in, and off we went.
That was a wild trip. That new RV rules, though. It's so fast.
It's massive.
It's so big.
It does 80 miles an hour like it doesn't even care. Like towing the trailer, it'll go 75 all day long. It's so great.
That's good. That's a huge improvement from what you were at.
It was a deal.
Dude, the old one used to like hate going 60. Like it hated it. Towing it. Like if you were doing any kind of hill or if it was super hot, like 55 was the jam all day long. But like we drove all the way to Florida, and that had a 5.9 Cummins pusher in the back, but it was still a big RV. All the way to Florida, all the way to Daytona, and like every 4 seconds somebody was passing us, like on either side. And like that makes you crazy after it took all the time. We slept 2 times before we got to Daytona.
Jeez.
Because we left at like midnight, and then we slept at 2 a.m. And then we slept like, I think we got to Daytona, like it still took like, it was like a 40-hour trip in that RV.
Gross.
Yeah, it was crazy. But people passed us for like 40 straight hours. And it's annoying.
He got so excited when he got to pass somebody with the new RV.
Oh, I'm sure.
So excited.
Because you can pass everybody. Like I didn't realize, because it was like my second time on the highway with it when we took it to Colorado, or maybe third. I took it to one event in Michigan.
Very untested.
Yeah, and like I just changed all the fluids, and so like we spent like on the way to you, it was still like, okay, we're gonna go like 60. And then I started realizing just how fast this thing could go. And it like above 70, it just wants to keep going faster. Like it rolls into power and it just goes faster and faster. I've caught myself going 95 miles an hour with a trailer one time. Coming back from Speed Ring in Michigan, we produce the Speed Ring event for Motovicity. So we do all the trackside stuff and we do the whole event basically. But it just feels like a grid life event. But we're coming back from Speed Ring. It's like midnight. And we had a little bit of a tailwind, like the wind was going the wrong direction. And like I pulled up, because the speedometer doesn't work in it yet. I pulled up Google Maps and I'm like going like 95. It was really stupid. But yeah, it's fun. I love RVs.
So there's a spotlight like above the windshield in the center.
Okay. Like into the cabin.
No,
outside.
Outside.
It's up on the middle of the roof, like right
above the
front.
windshield.
And
we're driving
on my left
and it's
knee.
Down by his knee. There's a control for it.
It's a joystick.
Oh, you can aim it.
You can tilt and aim and pan and the whole thing, dude. It moves all over.
So did you hunt raccoons while you were in Nebraska?
We're driving down. We're driving like midnight in Nebraska, and he's got this thing on, just like, oh, I wonder what's over there, and
Yeah.
and like people would go by us, and he'd turn it and point it on the back of their car. So I was like, dude, you're gonna get
arrested.
I was like, you're gonna get the cops called on you.
I don't know why that's illegal. I've never heard
that's
that.
Very illegal.
It's gotta be illegal. Spotlighting, it's gotta be illegal.
It's illegal for hunting.
It's just it's a movable headlight.
That's the other thing. It's way
weird
brighter than his headlights kind of sucked.
Yeah. I was like,
and so for a while, we were just using it as his headlights. Just pointed it at the ground in front of us.
Treat it like a bright, or a high beam, rather.
I changed the headlights like right before I went camping with the girls in October. But on the way back from Speedring, like going all the way through Michigan, it was raining like cats and dogs, and I actually had to like pull over and change the wipers too because they were like so bad. And I still had the factory like sealed beam headlights in there. It's a little, the little like 4x6 inch square rectangle sealed beams, like on Chevy vans for 1,000 years.
80 slicks.
Yeah, they're so bad, and so I couldn't see the lane. There wasn't many people on the road because it was late and Sunday night, and I couldn't see the lane markers though going down 94 in Michigan. And so I just turned the spotlight on and like aimed it I found the lane with the spotlight and just left it aimed and just drove like basically via that. But it's made for like when you pull into a campground, like you can look for the trees and like look for your spot,
Yep.
So you don't run into trees or run into power lines, or so you can see like your spot C4 and there's 1,000 spots before you get there. You can actually like find it. But it's pretty rad though. It's got this little switch and then it's just it's like a miniature Atari joystick. You just kind of move it around like a video game. It's shocking that it still works too.
That's awesome.
He was like a child with it. It was so bad, dude.
Can only
I
imagine.
think I had figured it out.
Yeah.
Like while we were going down the road, I was like, "What the heck? Oh, jeez." Yeah, I forgot that it was a thing. My dad showed it to me because he picked up the RV in Minnesota when he was up there. He found it up there and he drove it home and he showed it to me when he like dropped off the RV, and I forgot all about it. And I think I remembered somewhere on boring I-80, but that was a crazy 6 days, man.
That's a road trip with Jabaay in a nutshell.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Just messing around with all the knobs and switches.
Beer, and it was a long 5-6 days, though.
It was so much fun, though. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, next year for sure.
Flagging drift cars in the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
With you on to one side and somebody to the other side, and like the signal, if I have to throw the flag, is like lift your arms up.
Yeah,
because like I was positioned on the only blind corner for the drift cars, so they couldn't. They were wrapping around the K rail to the left, and I had the flags, and I was basically race control and the only flag because we only needed me because they can see everything in the middle, But I couldn't see to my left because people and smoke started getting crazy. So Adam and Austin and a couple other people were like, "I go over there, and if I start waving your arms like an idiot, if I need to throw a yellow." It actually worked pretty good. We're
literally like standing on the K rail that the pros are trying to
hit or like get next to.
Be as close as they can without hitting it.
Yeah.
It was wow. It was a deal.
It's such a wild place to be able to throw an event. Like they just gave us the keys and they were like, "Hey, what you think? Do whatever you want." And
I can't wait for next year.
It was really. We just need to control the crowd a little bit so they don't like lean over that K rail because they kept like pushing the barricade and like getting closer and closer to it. We had like a bike rack barricade about 4 feet back, and they would just kind of like slowly move that barricade.
Yeah.
I think the only real problem was when Sam from Maximum Driftcast and Donut Media No, race service. When his brand new drone, like that was like $5,000, like lost connectivity for a second and landed in the middle of the track.
I had to.
Yeah,
hop.
you told us
I had to
about
hop
that.
the barrier to go get. I think he lost it during the drift and it actually got ran over. Oh shit!
Yeah, there wasn't much left of it.
There was before that during Time Attack. He lost it and it was sitting on the outside of a corner.
Yep.
Where,
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's because no one told you.
Okay. Did you just jump on the middle of a hot racetrack?
I would never do that.
Oh, because I hear that.
I thought you listened to this
trouble.
show.
Yeah, I don't remember you talking about
it
that.
wasn't a
Listen
hot
to that
racetrack.
I thought you talked about it on the show.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I thought you did.
Yeah, don't jump on hot racetracks.
He had the official vest. It was
Gary
fine.
told me to take care of it and don't tell him what I did. And that's exactly what I did. Gary said, and I quote, "You seem like a kid who knows what you're doing. Don't get hit." I can do that, Gary.
Are you serious?
That's basically what he told me.
So Gary, if you're not familiar with
Gary's
Gary's
best.
been on our podcast.
He needs to be on this show.
He has ran. He's been a crew chief for everything. He's like basically been a race official for everything except for F1. I think he's going to be like the head, the lead, the head of competition, that competition director for all of SRO and TC America next year.
Jesus.
And he's done everything. And he told Adam to just make it happen and don't tell him what happened. That's funny.
I waited until the last car in the session pulled into pit lane.
Oh, you're fine then.
Before I jumped the fence, and I had at least a minute before the cars at the beginning of the grid got to me. Like, started
awesome.
going and got to me. It was fine. I told
It's
the
actually
kid,
a really good track to like.
yeah, because I could see everything.
Yeah, because you can like literally see every corner if you move 50 feet in a direction from the middle. I love that place. I can't wait to go
So
back.
much fun.
It's so good. Like that event had the best. Like it was like the most silly fun feeling. Like at night, everybody was in the best mood. And like the racers were in a great mood, and like everything is so compact that like it just gives like a real like to me it felt like a summer camp vibe, you know, like hey, let's all go do something super fun together, and it was really good. It was just I loved that event. I loved it. I couldn't have been more happy with it afterwards.
It's all lit up, you know, because it's an old NASCAR track, so like the whole track is lit up, and you can race it at night. So good. It was so much fun. I want to do GLTC under the lights next year too.
That'd be cool.
And maybe bracket battles if we can figure out a way to do it.
We need to figure out a way so that the GLTC cars can stay on the banking all the way around during the pace lap. So that you can start them like 4 wide.
That'd be a great idea.
That'd be the best. But I don't know how to do it and then get the cones back up before they come around.
I don't think you can do that.
I don't think no matter how fast you do it, I don't think you can quite get there.
It is quite a ways from the entrance up onto the banking till start finish, but like if you have a 30-car field, you're going to have people deep in the road course. Yeah, still, so.
Like there were 6 or 8 cars. Yeah, well, I could have done that no problem. But with 30 cars, that'd be pretty tight.
And that's actually a pretty. It's you're to put those cones back out. It's kind of a long run back to the safe area for the corner worker. There, you're talking about quite a distance.
Yeah, that would be rough.
And those cars will get there in probably 25 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think you could do it.
No, it's a cool place though, man. I really dig that place.
Yeah.
I hope it grows a lot this year. We estimate that it will based on everything that happened afterwards, and then we're really going to push the rally car aspect with the dirt road course. That should be hopefully more like a real rally stage with like actual rally cars next year. It
kind of turns out you had a bad weekend for that last year.
Why? Oh, because it was on a rally weekend.
Yeah, there was actually like a legit stage rally going on in Colorado.
Yeah, the Colorado whatever rally
like
was
a
that
pretty big rally, and so it's a big ask to get like full on legit rally cars to show up at your event when they could actually be doing real event, like they're actual what they're built for.
How many stage rallies are there in the U.S. anymore? There's like 5 real ones.
I think you'd be surprised how many there seem to be, because I kind of follow a handful of pretty amateur stage rally teams. And we even have a regular listener to both of our shows that is a navigator. But Ryan Dunham.
Oh, really? I know that name.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he navigates.
I don't think there's more than like 10
part.
big stage rallies, though. There's some little stuff, but it's not that many.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, like professional level ones. Yeah, there's probably 10 or less, but that's not where the fun's at.
No, the stage rally life was a life that I went through a little bit with a buddy of mine.
Best stage rally stories.
Dude, there's some wild stuff that happens.
Let's hear it. I want to know.
Out of control.
Tell me about your stage rallies.
The one that was like the longest weekend of my life. We were doing the Maine. At the time,
That's
it was
saying something.
No kidding.
I think it was a Rally America weekend. Maybe it was SCCA Club Rally still. I forget. It was right when Rally America started. And it was the Maine Pro Rally. And if we finished that weekend, my buddy who I was crewing for, he had to finish the weekend and he would be the Group 2 national champion. So it's the 2-wheel drive class or whatever. And if he finished the weekend, he got to win the national championship because he had done a bunch of events and he had done pretty well. And he was in a Honda Civic. He had like a smaller, basic twin cam engine, an LS motor in it, but with a Type R trans. So it had the better gear ratios and the LSD and all that jazz. And this is like an 05, which is now a long time ago. But
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday. But
that was like
so I drove up to
high school
Michigan.
days.
Yeah.
He didn't even have a truck. Like he drove the car to one rally. Because rally cars are supposed to be street legal, right?
Yeah.
So we were in a borrowed truck,
just like street mod cars.
Oh,
yeah. Well, they actually have to be. They have to be plated and insured.
I don't love that rule.
But we were in a borrowed F-250, which is like an '86 square body F-250. And the co-driver or the dude who was helping me, not the co-driver, he ended up being a rally co-driver later. He had one eye. His name was One-Eyed Ben. And he had borrowed this truck from his uncle.
A guy with one eye.
Well, he lost his eye in a bungee strap incident.
Oh, shit.
Like literally he was strapping down something and it like snapped back and like whoop, grabbed the eyeball.
Oh, that's a worst case.
So be careful with them bungee straps.
That's crazy.
And One-Eyed Ben, if you remember like 15 or 12 years ago, it was a couple years later, Bill Caswell got famous because he had done a WRC stage with an E30 that he built.
Yeah.
And One-Eyed Ben was the dude who was his co-driver and the guy who brought the car down and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
So a couple years after that, I met Bill Caswell and I was like, hey, you still hang out with like Ben Slocum? And he was like, oh, One-Eyed Ben. I was like, yeah. One time One-Eyed Ben spooned me in a weird hotel in Maine. So we meet up in Michigan and we got this beater F-250 and this borrowed trailer, which was designed for a sand rail, I think, with like a VW powered sand rail. So it effectively was a boat trailer and the axle was probably 3 feet too far back. And it was a one axle. Only a one axle. And it had ramps that you had to like put up like a lawn trailer. And like you made a triangle out of a piece of like 1-inch flat steel and the ramp was straight up and down. So we had to put the Civic on backwards in order to balance the weight a little bit. And we still had way too much tongue weight. And this trailer was like coming apart at the seams. It was not a good trailer. And then it was before GPS and we had MapQuest maps, obviously. We got lost somewhere in Quebec because of a road that was closed.
Jeez.
So my buddy who was driving, he owns Specialty Field Production, who is the company that does our live stream. And he's also the lead shooter on the Ken Block Gymkhana series. And if you watch the Hoonigan behind the scenes stuff with what was it called? It was on Gymkhana Files. They called him Magic. That's his name through them. So because his name is Matt Johnston, they call him Magic Johnston. Oh. But so he was the driver, and he didn't have any money at the time. And the co-driver was another buddy of ours, our old lead instructor Luke Wilcox, who we organized all of our Honda Meet events together and stuff. So So I think Luke and I both had loaned Matt a bunch of money to get there, like gas money, a couple $100 a piece. And we got lost in Quebec. I ended up sleeping, and this is only an extended cab truck. So like the back seats on those things, we had to sit on the side, like at a 90-degree angle to the driver and passenger. And there was and like so your feet, you're playing footsies with the other guy in the back the whole time.
Yep.
There's no room for bags. Like we try to like strategically put backpacks under our knees and stuff to like get comfortable so you could fall asleep in the back. And I ended up sleeping in a parking lot just to stretch out at one point. Like we got lost and got so mad. It was like 4 a.m. We were all bleary eyed. And the trailer broke. We lost one of the ramps. I don't remember how we got the car off the trailer anymore. I think we might have backed up to a dirt mound to get the car off the trailer. The truck was actually very reliable. That was one good thing. That rally, we were trying to pass tech inspection, and it turns out that the wrong axle seals for the transmission, where the axles go into the trans, we had the wrong seals for it. And all the oil would fall out. It would leak, like we're talking like a big old line of oil, right? And so and you got to drive on the street. So logically, they were like, no, you can't. This doesn't pass. And so we couldn't get seals from Napa like in the next 2 days because we're in the middle of nowhere in Maine. And so to pass tech inspection, we just drained all the oil out of the trans. And we just drove it through tech inspection, and then we just filled it back up with oil. And it would lose all the oil in the first 3 miles in the trans. It's only 2-quart capacity.
Oh my
so
God.
we devised a way to fill the trans without using the filler, because the first couple of times we filled it with the filler, and the filler is on the side next to the differential, and you can only get 2 quarts in because at that level it starts to overflow. But there's a breather hole on top, and if you pull out this 114 mil bolt or whatever, you can squeeze 4 quarts into it. But I mean, it instantly starts leaking. So like the car's warmed up, ready to go, and we're like and we're using thick oil too, like Lucas, like gear oil, like whatever. And like the parts store was like 15 miles away from anywhere rally stuff was happening. So we just went and bought all the different oil we could get. And I found the receipt from that the other day. I don't remember where I found it, but like a month ago, I found a receipt from that parts store in Maine. I think it was in the glove box that I had taken out of my race car, and it was in the basement. And there was like a pile of receipts in there. But we bought a bunch of random oil, and we would just like pump it all in, and then he'd get in line, and he'd go do the stage. And then like there was one long transit after one of the stages, and you're not allowed to work on the car in transit. Like you just can't do it. And we had tried to change the seals at Park Expose, which is like the car show in the town. And I'm underneath this car in a park, and like the seals, the part number for this trans, like the part number from everywhere was the wrong part number in every part store thing at the time. So everybody had the wrong seals. We couldn't get the right seals. And like it was Travis Pastrana's first year racing, and like I'm underneath this car like covered in oil, and we're like super mad. We just got to finish this weekend, and we think, oh, gearbox is gonna blow up first stage. Travis Pastrana pokes his head underneath. He's like, "Hey man, what you doing?" And I like told him what we were doing. So that was the only time I ever talked to Travis Pastrana. But
so far,
so we're
he'll be on a grid life someday.
It was like second to last stage, second to last stage, first day, I think. And we got a phone call from Luke, the co-driver, and he's like, car doesn't shift anymore. And we were ahead of them in the truck, like not close, but like we were on the same road going to meet them at the next service. And I just, I told him the mile marker, and there was just a bunch of oil sitting in the middle of the street. Because we're not allowed to touch it as service. Only the driver and co-driver can work on the car. And so like technically I think that's totally against the rules, but there might have been oil in the middle of the road.
I mean, finders keepers, right?
That could have been anyone's oil.
I don't know who put it there, but they found some oil in the middle of the road.
How convenient.
And we got through, they got to the next service. And then there was this one really bad stage, a lot of boulders, and it broke the steering rack out of the car. And so the steering rack on these things is like basically strapped and bolted to the front cross member of the, like behind the engine. and it's like 2 bolts on one side and then like a strap that goes over top the steering rack, and everything had just gotten wiped off. Everything broke off, and the steering rack was basically like wedging itself in one. Like you turn right, the steering rack would move like 5 inches and then bang into something, and you'd get a little bit of steering. And like you turn the wheel like 5 turns the other way, and it would like wedge itself against something else, and so you get a little bit of steering the other direction. And they got back to service, like they finished the stage, and like so we needed like a welder or something, and we had 15 minutes. And the only people that had a welder was Burlington Subaru, and they had like a big stacker or whatever trailer, or it was like a big rig. They had a lot of stuff, but they didn't have any gas for it. So we're welding with a MIG welder with no gas, and they didn't have any. They didn't have a welding mask, and so we were just going to try this. And so we.
Why would you bother bringing it?
It was just in the truck. I don't know why they didn't. They didn't have all the stuff to use it, but it was in the truck. And basically, so I was trying to weld like some sort of mountain, and I had like no time, and I think it got. So I'm welding in a hay field, like everything is 6 inches tall, and I would like do a couple of, and it just didn't work because it wasn't a welder that could do it. It had no power. We were running off a tiny generator, but like I'm starting the grass around me on fire, and I'm like staring at the weld with my eyes. I had like a set of Ray-Bans on as my welding glasses.
Nice.
And I think it got them like 4 turns in, like basically it got them to the stage, and then they just had to crawl the stage because it broke immediately. But it was a wild race. And so they get the last thing they had to do was cross they had like a trailer with a ramp on either side, and that was like the podium. They had to get up on the podium, take their picture, and the rally's done, right? And so they drive up the ramp, stop, they take their picture. Matt wins the Group 2 Rally America National Championship, and like if I remember correctly, he drove to go off the trailer, and the car falls off the trailer and slides down the ramp, and he goes like revs it and like got off the podium. Car broken, totally won the rally. I think we didn't win that rally. We like got like 4th out of Group 2 or 5th, just by virtue of finishing it. But he won the championship for the year. So that was the craziest weekend of my life. I don't think I slept more than 2 hours in like 4 nights. It was insanity.
That's crazy.
So it was really all those things are like emblazoned in my mind though. Like I'm so glad I did it, but I never want to do it again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotta have Matt on the show. He's got the best stories, man.
I bet.
That'd be a good show.
Between that and all the Ken Block stuff.
Well, he made a film years ago called Easier Said Than Done, which is like the rally film. It's like the only feature-length documentary at the time that had been done on like rally in the last however many years, since like the 80s maybe. So it got a lot of attention from a lot of the rally community. And he interviewed like Ken Block and a bunch of like he got to know a lot of those people by making that film. And if you before that, he and Luke had made the Wagon Attack series of videos. They did like 2 or 3 videos called Wagon Attack. So if you look up Wagon Attack on YouTube, one of them they're like joke videos, but people like took them semi-seriously because the videography and stuff was beautiful. Like they did a really good job. Especially Wagon Attack 1 was a joke, but Wagon Attack 2 was like Top Gear style filmography or whatever you call it. And that was what got him into video stuff. And now that's what he does for a living. But he got to know Ken through that. And that's how he got hooked up with them. And that's sort of what he does full time now, is work with Hoonigan. And he's a director on some side projects and things like that. So pretty wild stuff. Weird how this hobby can connect you with things, right?
So
I was trying so hard to pull up these pictures, and it's just not working.
Should we?
Wagon Attack is the raddest little dumb video. Wagon Attack 2.
It's good.
I've went and watched.
I've watched them
because of you guys talking about them. So
I wonder how many views it has right now.
We talked
Wagon
about this
Attack
at Midwest, and it had.
I think it's got like 500,000 views.
Yeah,
513.
That's crazy.
But Yeah, it was fun. That was a wild time. It was when most of our buddies weren't married. There was no kids in the picture for anybody. Like we had all
time.
We were all full of piss and vinegar, hosting one motorsports event a year. It was so easy.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah, and I think last year we were at the track 85 days. It was way too much.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a lot of track
So,
time.
speaking of being at the track and hosting events, should we run through your calendar real quick, talk about next year, and then let you go?
Yeah, and then I got to go hang out with the wife.
Yeah.
We just on Thanksgiving we launched the 2020 season calendar, and so 2020 technically has already started for our Time Attack Points series
and GLTC.
And GLTC. Technically, there will be.
Are you doing
a
a point series for that?
What's that?
Are you doing a yearly point series?
Last year we did not because we thought it would fail. So,
thought GLTC would fail?
Yeah.
No.
I never thought it would be any good.
You don't think anything you do is going to be any good. So.
Last year it was just individual like event championship. So every event was like its own mini championship, which will continue this year. And then the prize for the person that won each event was they would get a dumb trophy, and then they would get free entry to the next event that they did.
Oh, nice.
So that was last year. This year, 2020, there will be a points champion, and the whole point structure is in the tentative rules that are up. And so the final rules will be dropped in a week at PRI. And the season calendar was just launched on Thursday on Thanksgiving. And so we're starting the year for next year. We're starting at NCM in April for Time Attack, and GLTC is starting in February at COTA. So
that's so awesome that you guys are going to be at COTA.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Are you driving out, Adam, or are you flying?
But we're driving. Okay.
I might drive. If one of these things is a full-fledged GLTC car, we might tow it and Gabe. Gabe from Grid Life bought Scott Giles' Honey Badger, the old CRX. So he did his first GLTC weekend in October at Gingerbread. So he and I might drive out with two cars. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to Circuit of the Americas.
It's such a gorgeous facility.
I should probably pull up our schedule unless you have it.
Robbie,
it's pulled up on the YouTube video for those that are watching along.
What's the next one? We got NCM and then Midwest Festival, right?
Yeah, so you got COTA in February. You got Track Battle April 18.
Yep.
And you got Midwest Festival June 4.
4 through 7.
Yep. And then Track Battle Chicago June 27.
Yep.
So that moved to weekends then, didn't it?
Basically, it's always been either end of June or first weekend of July. It kind of depends on where that weekend is. So,
okay.
I think the latest it's been has been July 2 or 3. So it's the same basic weekend, but that event is going to have GLTC also, and it's going to be on South Track at Audubon. We're not doing full course or North course like the last couple of years.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be just on South, and doing the 2 and 3 course configurations throughout a 2-day weekend has kind of proved to be a recipe for people trying too hard in Time Attack,
especially North and Full, because those are the 2 courses no one gets practice on.
Yeah, so like North course always means too much, and it's small, so you can't put too many cars on it, and somebody always has a big oil cleanup because they blow it up, and then Full course is huge, and you hadn't done South course yet, so people are trying to learn the whole back section of the track. And then somebody always blows it up trying too hard or stuffs it into a wall. We haven't actually had any bad crashes at Autobahn, really, but it's some small stuff. But it's always car blow-ups. And then Sunday, we've always done South Course, and it's always a better day because you've already done that track because it's the complicated half of Full Course. But oil cleanups and tows are always a problem at Autobahn. So I am bringing my rad tow crew from Michigan.
You finally got that approved, huh?
Yeah.
Best day ever. Best day ever.
Yeah, the rescue guys are the best. They're so fast.
And hilarious.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And they're really fun to hang out with in the paddock. So
and they make fun of you the whole time you're being towed.
Yeah, they do make fun of you. I've seen them hook up to a car without stopping their truck. Jackie's got the big old rope and she like flies off the back of the truck, and she's towed this car before, so she knows where the hook is, and she drops it down, and Michael and Russ are just kind of idling forward, and Jackie hops back in the truck and she maintains the slack, and the slack gets pulled out, and boom, you're rolling.
Efficient.
I don't want to be the guy who they're that familiar with.
No, that's not good. That's not a good look.
It was like an S2000. We were following them in the Gingerman truck. It was an S2000. And they knew the tow hook would be in the front. So somebody had just like pulled off track, like the car had stalled or something. I forget what it was, but
I suppose you get to a point where you know where the tow hook is on every car because you've towed 100 of them.
If it's there, you know where it should be at least.
Right.
But yeah, they're great people to work with. I'm looking forward to having them, and then they'll be backed up by the firefighters and stuff, where they're like super well equipped at Autobahn, like for the emergency stuff. But they just don't like towing cars because it's like not really what their job should be. So basically, we're helping both people out. Like Michael and the rescue guys don't have to, take a whole truck full of water and be the fire team. And the fire team doesn't have to be the tow team because they don't like doing it.
So everybody wins.
Yeah, that works out.
Hopefully it works out really well. And that's always been like a thing that sucks a lot of time because for some reason that event's always on the hottest weekend of the year, and somebody always blows up every 3 hours. And first they tow them and then they clean them. Yeah, if we can smooth out a few little aspects, that event will be great, I think. So
cool. That'll be good.
And then what do we got after that? Mid-Ohio?
Yes. Yeah, July 31.
Mid-Ohio, we got the IndyCar date because IndyCar got moved because of the Olympic TV schedule. So, so IndyCar
that works out.
Yeah, no, we've been talking to Mid-Ohio. I sent them an email in April after our event this year. Like, all right, let's start talking about dates because we did not want our early April date because it's always been a rain out or a snow out potential.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've had hard rain and it gets cold and it's like nearing freezing. But this year we had beautiful weather there. But so we got offered the prime weekend of the year for 1 year only, but it did kind of throw a monkey wrench into the schedule. So we took it, and we're going to kind of try to do a mini festival. There'll be ideally there's drifting and car show and lots of fun stuff to do that weekend.
They'll let you drift that track, huh?
That's the goal.
I can see some of those like pro tracks not being into that.
Well, Mid-Ohio is I don't think they're real precious with their pavement. Their pavement should have been redone probably 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But it's really smooth because it's got pretty good ground underneath of it. Like it was originally prepped well. They just keep sealing it over and over and over. That's why it gets really slick in the wintertime or when it's cold and when it's wet. But I think that track could be a really fun one to have like some pro drift cars on it. So
yeah, for sure.
People have drifted it. It has happened before. It's not like breaking new ground like Road America or whatever. So,
right.
But that should be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday this year instead of just Saturday, Sunday, which I think will be another good addition to that event. Have a little bit more seat time and just a really good weekend. So, and then what's the next one after that? We've got
Alpine Horizon on August 20, and then Elkhart on September 12, and then you finished off the fall special at Gingerman October 3rd.
Yeah. There might be some other stuff where just today I had a call with another track way down south. We've been talking to them for a while. There might be some things added on, but that is like the track battle GLTC season. That's what's going to happen. So we might do something out west. There's still some unknowns, like some potential partnership with our buddies over in the 4-letter sanctioning body. There might be something.
Nice.
We just got to iron out some details. So yeah. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to working with SCCA and Super Lap Battle GTA at COTA. That'll be fun.
That was a really, really cool event last year, and I'm excited.
I can't wait to see the place.
Well, so number one, I think there'll be a lot of the cars that were there last year will be back, and I think more people will come this year. There's already at least one car from Australia that's committed, which is super awesome. I'm super excited about that. And then you guys being there, just cherry on the top.
I think it'll be if we get a good crew of drivers. I think it'll be a really fun one for GLTC. Like 4 or 5 wide into turn 1 is like totally doable.
Yeah,
and I think some short banger races that won't be like the worst track in the world to spectate, and I think it'll be a really fun event to participate in. So
they kind of let us. I mean, I hope that they do continue this, but they kind of let us have pretty free reign of it. There were places we couldn't get to, but for the most part, we could get pretty much anywhere we wanted to be. And
yeah, I remember you saying that on the show that
we could get on.
Cool.
We could get on the walkways and be over the track, and cars would be flying under, like coming through the S's at the top of the hill, and we'd be on the track, and you'd have like the life car go blitzing through the S's and James chasing after him, and then their wastegates are just cackling away, and this. I mean, it was awesome. It was so much fun.
I can't wait to just see some of that stuff, like that infamous tower and the bridges that you can actually see things when the cars are going underneath. Because most racetracks are like put siding over them, and you can't look down.
Yep.
It looks like a really. It's like the biggest, most ridiculous facility that the U.S. has to offer potentially. It looks like a really cool place to be. But.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so much fun. Place is
hopefully
huge
people
too.
sign
it's
up.
Outrageously huge.
Yeah, hopefully lots of people sign up for Super Lap Battle and for GLTC, and it's a rad event. So it is an expensive place, unfortunately.
Very expensive.
My voice is going. I haven't drank water in like 5 hours, and it's super dry. So
yeah, I get that.
You guys can go do your news and your Adams.
We're gonna open. Yeah, we're gonna open it up now.
Part way.
I appreciate you dumbos having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it when you come on. So.
I hope the audio is okay with my little Chromebook here. But
it seems to have gone okay. If
can't be any worse than slip angle.
No, like it could definitely not be worse than that.
Hey, we've had some bad ones.
Even last
I just got a message today from a friend of mine who said your audio quality is much better than it used to be.
My audio quality? Our audio
slip
quality?
Angle. Yeah.
We're trying to turn it up louder.
Well, I think
turn it up.
Yeah, and I think when you did the show with Mike and Derek, they all 3 have their own recorders, and they're all so it's not.
I got to get Mike to buy an actual mic because he uses the one that's on top of his recorder.
Yeah.
And then he forgets where he put the recorder, and he's working on his car, and he walks away mid sentence.
Get him a wireless lapel mic, and he can just put it on his shirt collar and do his thing.
Yeah, I'll have to send him a microphone. He's good on the podcast, though. I
really like Mike. He's cool.
Mike Taylor has some good stories.
Yeah, his racer stories are the best.
It's been. Since Austin kind of stepped back from wanting to talk about cars, it's been kind of a fun transition to have Abe on. But Abe always wants to talk about time attack cars, and then Derek always wants to talk
wrong with that.
Well, that's fine. But Derek always wants to talk about GLTC cars, and Mike Taylor always wants to talk about Lemon's cars. And then Austin and Mike randomly have everybody cool in California on. So we've had a wide variety of content, but even plug in Tesla performance people on the show. So
that was an interesting show. I enjoyed listening to that guy. Who had a lot of interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
so.
that's going to be the future of what we do, probably.
Yeah, well, like it or not, that's probably true. So.
Well. Those cars aren't slow, at least.
There's a lot of truth to that.
All right, buddies. I'm going to go hang out and eat dinner because I walked in the door right before I called you. So.
All right, man.
All right, buddy.
Thanks again.
Good talking to you.
Later, dudes. You can find Slip Angle at Moto IQ and wherever, and then go to grid.life. So.
Mostly just grid.life.
Grid.life.
Yeah. It's right there in the bottom of the car. So. All right. I'm going to shut this off.
All right.
Later.
See ya.
Later, dude.
All right, shut off.
See if he's going to hang up. There we go.
I'm trying to shut it off. The recorder's not letting me. Oh,
no,
whatever.
Of course not.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever. It'll be a silent channel.
I don't care. All done.
Robbie.
What is going on, my friend?
How's life, buddy?
Good. It was good until I just saw a fucking mouse over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
for real?
I just watched it walk through that door.
Oh, you need a cat?
There's enough poison under that furnace room that he'll find it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I just recently opened a cupboard I don't often get into.
Yep.
And there was a whole crap load of mouse shit in there. Like a ton of it. And I was like,
you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Why do I have 2 cats?
Yep. No, that. Oh God, what was this? It's been a little while, but then I came down here one time and like the toilet paper in that room, because like, I'm not down there all that often.
Yeah.
And the room was kind of torn up and there was mouse shit all over. I was like, fuck. This is the year. This is the year of mice, apparently.
It's every year for me, it's harvest time.
Yeah, exactly.
When they, they're out there in the fields taking all the corn and stuff out, that's when the mice got to move, and then they end up in my house.
Yep. There's 2 spots I see them all the time. One's on my propane tank and that little cap. So I always put a little poison thing right below it so they can, like climb down the hose, or not the hose, but the piping, and they do. Yeah, then they eat the poison, and then now I got poison next to my sump pump.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find something.
Now I need a cat to chase the ones that don't go to my sump pump. Apparently,
well, I will be more than happy to loan you a cat.
We can leave one down here if it kills my mice. I really don't care.
Well, the problem is that you kind of have to have both my cats, because together they make one functioning cat. Because one of them sees it, but is very slow to react.
Okay.
And the other one, he reacts really quickly, but he sees it really slowly.
Oh.
So between the 2 of them, they kind of do all right together. Because they're idiots.
Oh, well. I've done pretty good keeping up on it. I only see him once in a while.
My one cat tries to sneak out all the time, and I always tell him, because he can understand me.
Of course, animals.
Yeah. That he wouldn't last like literally 2 days on the street, and that he really just needs to understand how good he has it and knock that shit off.
Yeah.
Moron.
No. They always want to go outside, and then they realize that it sucks out there, and then they come back in.
Yeah. Yeah. The new dog does not like the cold.
I get that.
At all.
It sucks out there.
So that's an issue.
So now he's going to sit at the door, look outside, and you're like, no, you got to go.
Yeah.
Do your
she'll
business.
go out, but then she'll like realize, holy shit, it's cold out here. She just want to come right back inside again. Like, no.
Finish.
You've got things to do before you get to come back in. So.
Animals.
Dogs suck.
You want to open this up now that we've been in this an hour?
I suppose. Let's do this.
All right.
So, I came across this. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Our opener presented by Factory Fabrication.
I came across this on the Facebooks, as I often do. This ridiculous semi, if you will, that was being sold on auction. Did sell on auction for a princely sum of $12 million.
That's absolute insanity.
So this thing has 2 V12 diesel something or another engines strapped to each other, front and back.
Twin V12s.
Twin V12s. And then I think that there's, what is there? How many superchargers are on it?
Too many.
It says in the title, I thought. I don't remember now.
I can screw that.
It's something stupid.
It doesn't. It's twin V12, so it says.
Okay. 12 superchargers. Twin V12s, 12 superchargers, so 6 on each. And they're stacked like 6 on the one side and 6 on the other.
Okay.
In a row. They're like
Here we go.
Angled out. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
And then it runs zoomies.
Of course.
Which everybody who's listened, longtime listeners know my affinity for the zoomie.
What in the...
It has a claimed 3,424 horsepower capability. There's no torque rating quoted, but I can only imagine it's
all of it
astronomical. It's been stretched ridiculously to fit.
That's
V12s.
The weird thing is how freaking long.
Dude, it's got to be 40 foot long without a trailer.
Now,
it's huge.
It looks like it's a trailer frame. It's at least the equivalent length.
Yeah, probably.
Because the engines
alone. I think those are body on frame, so I'm guessing they just
weld 2 frames together and call it a day.
Like, how hard can this be? This thing. There's YouTube videos of this thing floating around on the internet for years and years and years. I've seen videos of it just like sitting in the garage idling, and the guy who built it looks exactly like you would expect him to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks exactly like you would expect him to. Some California guy
Yep.
with way too much money, clearly, built this thing, but I've never seen it drive or move or be a functioning thing beyond an idle. And I never knew if, like, that's all it could do. Because, like, if
could you actually take this somewhere? And
So,
can it even turn?
I don't know, but it's going to the Middle East where they have nothing but the straightest roads in the world, so it doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
So this recently sold on auction at this, I don't know how to exactly pronounce it, RIDAYH, I think it's spelled.
I don't know.
It's some auto show that they are just starting up there in the Middle East, and they had an auction there, and this thing sold there for $12 million. It's still here in the United States, according to the article that on the drive.
So they bought it sight unseen.
So they bought it sight unseen. They bought it with pictures and a promise.
Holy cows!
But
does that include shipping?
Who knows? You know, we've talked about quite a few times where, like, you know, when you've got these mega rich, balling out of control billionaires, like, the only thing that matters is the exclusivity of the thing you're buying.
Right.
It doesn't get more insane and exclusive.
Bless you.
I don't know. That'll come back around, I promise.
I'm sure.
But this is as wild as it gets. It's great.
That's great. It's just beyond crazy to me.
It's a giant middle finger to all these tree-hugging hippie Prius drivers, for sure.
Yeah.
We love it.
Well, what's crazy to me is that the guy built it, so he had enough money to build it.
Yep.
But he profited like a motherfucker.
Oh, he had to have.
There's no way he spent $12
I'm sure
million.
that it was not a cheap endeavor.
No, it couldn't be.
But I can't imagine that it was a...
Even if he doubled his money, there's no way he spent $6 million on it.
I feel like that's probably even...
insane.
Yeah.
I bet he 10 times the money.
I feel like at $1 million he would have been doing all right.
He would have made money at $1 million, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah, you could build that for less.
I
Maybe?
don't know. I don't know. Maybe not. I know
$1 million goes a long ways.
Like at work, you know, we have some pretty big trucks. We have some full size semi trucks. I don't know what those cost, but like our bucket trucks, which are not small trucks, but they're not semi trucks.
Yep.
We just bought one recently with nearly 100,000 miles on it for like 20 or 30 grand.
Jeez.
I mean, some of those big trucks, some of those big diesel trucks are not cheap.
No, they're not.
You know, and so maybe, I don't know, maybe 12 grand or $12 million is a perfectly reasonable sum of money for that. I don't have any
Seems
idea.
a little high, but yeah, maybe it is.
I mean, you're never going to make money on it. The guy's not going to use it. He's not going to put a trailer behind it and haul across the Arabian desert with it.
That's what they need, is an equivalent trailer to go behind it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You want to be exclusive. Get your 40-foot trailer behind this.
Yeah, I'm about this thing. This is hilarious. It's
the problem
wildly overdone in the best of ways.
I'm surprised you're about it because it reminds me of that big Terragator car thing that you
But
hate
that
so
was
much.
a rat rod.
If
this was like, if they put this thing together and then patinaed it and made it rat rod for the sake of rat rod, I would not be in.
No.
I would be so out I couldn't. I don't know that I would have even talked about it. But because they went through with this and they did a good job on it and it's presented well, I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, it's got neon lights, or probably LED lights everywhere, and
you know, the
fancy
cabs,
paint job.
Yeah, the cab's painted and it's chromed all over, and it looks...
It looks like what you expected.
It looks absolutely insane, but it looks good.
Yeah.
It might not be your thing,
No.
but it's well done.
Yeah, I won't disagree with any of that.
So, I would love to drive it.
I'd like to be around it. I don't really need to drive it.
I can't imagine.
I would crash into something.
I can't
for
imagine
sure.
how loud a zoomed semi-truck with 24 cylinders and 12 gigantic, like probably 871 or something along those line blowers would be. It's got to be
earth-shattering.
Deafening.
Like your whole world just gets shaken up while you're next to it.
It's got to be an
experience.
An experience unlike any other. It's so cool.
It'd be fun.
For like a day.
Yeah. It's not $12 million worth of fun.
I mean, if I was a billionaire, it might be.
No, there's many more things.
But if I was a billionaire,
I suppose if money didn't matter,
like if I'm worth $100 billion,
just
I realize that there's only like 6 people in the world worth $100 billion.
Sure.
But even if I was worth $2 billion, $12 million is not that much money.
No, you just kind of, it's just money.
That's like you spending $1,000 on a beater car.
Yes.
So
it's a life I would like to know what it's like.
Just for a little while.
Yeah.
More than a day, like a month.
I think that'd be ideal.
I think you need a month to really enjoy it, but more than that, and it probably starts to go downhill.
Yeah, you start to like really ruin your life after that point.
If you're born into it, I think it's probably better, honestly,
because
you don't know any different,
right? But you go from nothing to billions.
Yeah, like if I won $600 million in the lottery,
you just have $600 million worth of stuff.
I think it'd be bad. Robbie, we'd be taking this show on the road.
We'd have to.
If I ever call you and tell you that we have to meet at a restaurant, but I don't want to talk about why,
I just show up.
I won the lottery.
Yep,
I just want you to know that.
I immediately quit my job before I even get there.
On your way there,
Not
go
coming
ahead
in
and
tomorrow.
quit your job. I'll take care of it. Don't you worry.
I'm his professional mechanic now. I'm done. We're just podcasting.
He's my engineer.
Yep. No more aerospace crap.
Yeah. Got a small list of friends that I would have to call and do the same thing for.
Yes.
But it'd be great. Our YouTube channel would be...
Oh, we would finally be good on YouTube.
Oh, dude.
Finally.
Dude. I mean, we might not be good, but at least we'll have the money to make the videos.
We could actually have a production team. We don't have to worry about any of this editing
make
crap.
us look good.
Yes.
Oh, you're never going to edit another video.
No more editing.
You won't be editing these videos.
That's the best part.
No.
That's when you know you've made it, is when someone else is doing the recording and the editing and you just show up.
Yeah.
Say your funny lines.
When you have craft
your fun.
services, you've arrived.
Yeah. We'd have not roadies. What's the word I'm looking for?
I think
riders. We'd have riders.
Is it roadie the word? Well, I mean,
we'd have people the roadies coming with us, but
that's fair.
We'd have riders at places we go.
Like green, a bowl of green M&Ms,
yes.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
it'd be so good.
Reese's Pieces, but only the orange ones.
Yeah. Freshly washed towels,
twice
washed towels that have never been used.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be great. And people would do it too. That's the thing.
Yeah, you just show up and everything you've asked for is just sitting in a room.
Yeah, my McLaren,
twice washed.
Absolutely. Driven once though, just enough for break-in miles.
Yeah, I want to
and then sell.
I want to have fun with it. So this dream scenario is brought to you by Factory Fabrication, who will also bring your dream scenarios to fruition if you go to factoryfabrication.com.
Robbie,
if you have railings and landscapings and custom furniture that is part of your dreams, call Booney at Factory Fabrication. Bam.
It's too much, Robbie. It's too much.
I was on a roll. I was feeling it.
So, should we do the news?
Let's do it.
So, presented by Apex Pro.
ApexTrackCoach.com. Also great. It is that time of year. Thinking about gifts for your loved ones. If you're listening about this or you're listening to this and are thinking about what you're the person driving, because you're stuck listening to this because they're the ones that are listening to the podcast,
yeah,
not you.
Real here.
If you're listening to this podcast because you're being forced to listen to it, listen up. ApexTrackCoach.com. This is what they want. I'll even save you some money. You get a free window mount, 10 cents at checkout.
Boom. Andrew will be at PRI.
Yep, we're going to talk to him. I'm bringing my recorder.
Do they have a booth? Is that what I understand?
I thought they were.
Or are they with?
I searched. They're not on the website, so I don't know what that means.
Okay.
He's going to be there.
Well, a lot of people don't have booths; they just roam.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make sense to have a booth.
They didn't roam last time.
No, but they were with somebody.
Oh, I thought they had their own.
I think that there was Apex Pro and.
Okay. See, I went through the list today and made a list of people I wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
But they weren't on the PRI exhibitor list.
Well,
so
Andrew will be there. So if you reach out to Apex Pro because you want to meet up and talk to them at PRI, I'm sure that he would.
He'll be there.
So,
all right.
Pretty excited.
Let's do the news. Adam, are you excited about the first part of news?
Dude, of course I am.
Micro Machines are back.
Dude, it's the best news we've done ever.
No.
Absolutely. Micro Machines are the most rad thing ever, dude.
I'm going to disappoint you.
You didn't have these when you were little, did you?
I did.
And you didn't like them?
Nope. They're too small.
Bro.
I like Hot Wheels were better.
Well, I mean...
Because they had a little bit more weight.
They
were made of metal, and I could launch them twice as far.
I had way more Hot Wheels than I had Micro Machines.
Yes.
To be
the Micro Machines were what? Half as big, maybe a little smaller, and they made out of plastic.
But these are so good. The nostalgia is strong, Robbie.
You want to know why? I'm too young.
Yeah.
These are an 80s product.
Yeah, they were kind of on the tail end.
Almost a 90s baby.
Yeah, these are on the tail end of me even.
Because
I
do remember them, though.
I was 3 when the 80s were over. It's not like I can really consider myself an 80s child.
Oh, we could have Adam Jabaay still on.
Yeah, he would have known about the Micro Machines.
He probably has a bunch of these still.
Yeah,
back when he was a small boy.
Yeah, they're in a box in his parents' attic or something like that. So I'm excited nonetheless. I think they're super rad. So I'll buy a few.
These are coming out next year.
It sounds like it. 2020.
Yep. So Logan's going to get Micro Machines for Christmas next year.
I'll probably get them for his birthday.
Because
that comes in March.
Yes.
So that
they should be out
perfect. By then. Yeah. I'm excited about it. He has, so right now they make these like Lightning McQueen cars minis. Right, and they're about the size of a Micro Machine size.
Okay.
If you buy like the bigger Lightning McQueen stuff that are more Hot Wheels size, they're a touch bigger, which is really frustrating because they don't fit on the Hot Wheels tracks.
Oh, that's annoying.
They're just a touch bigger than the Hot Wheels.
Just take it outside and sand them down a little bit.
So because Logan doesn't understand that, he just wants to race Lightning McQueen down his Hot Wheels track.
Yeah, he doesn't care,
but he can't. So they also make these mini ones. And last night he was like carrying it around the house, playing with it, and he calls it Baby Lightning McQueen. And he I don't know where he found like one of those cat toys that's a ball with a bell inside of it.
Yeah.
But it had been broken half at some point, probably by a dog. And so he just had the bottom or like one half of the ball, and the McQueen fit in there just right. And he was like saying that it was Baby Lightning McQueen's bed or something. And he was just super pumped about it. I don't know like why he was so excited about Baby Lightning McQueen last night, but he was very into small cars, especially last night. So hopefully he takes to these Micro Machines, and then I can buy some of these for him, of course.
Yes.
They're for
for him.
They're for him, Robbie.
It's a gift for the son.
That's my story, and I'm sticking.
It's got nothing to do what you want. The fact that they're sitting in their packaging, still sitting on the shelf. That's
there
Logan's.
There are a handful of those that he's not allowed to have.
They're sitting over here.
There's more of those at home.
Yeah, so I don't have that many, but I do have a couple.
So I have a couple. Like I bought some cars.
Yep.
Some cars, the movie cars that he can't have. Like the King. Which is a Daytona.
Yeah.
And then in Cars 3 they had Smokey.
Which one's that?
Right, he's the truck. He's the old guy that helps Lightning McQueen find his way again or whatever, Well, that Smokey character is a throwback to Smokey Yunick, who was a famous guy in the 60s and 70s in NASCAR and the Indy 500, and he's kind of known for being like the rule breaker and the guy that is always looking for the gray areas, and the guy that they wrote the rule book because Smokey Yunick did this, and now we got to outlaw it. And everybody knows that's what I want to be.
Yes,
right. Like that.
He's your spirit animal.
Yeah. So Smokey's my man, and so of course when I found out that was a character in the Cars movies, I had to go get one of those, and it's not allowed to be opened.
No, it's not a toy.
And no. I have a 2-pack that's like Smokey and the Hudson Hornet.
Yep.
Together, Doc Hudson.
Yep.
So because he was originally Doc Hudson's mentor in that movie.
Oh yeah.
So that's why they come together, and so toys are great.
Speaking of toys, apparently Joey Logano is also your spirit animal.
Yeah, Joey Logano is my new favorite NASCAR driver. I didn't really have a favorite that he's replacing.
Someone tried to tell me at work, a woman at work walked up to me. She goes, "Did no one ever tell you that you look like Joey Logano?"
Really?
And I didn't know how to take that. I couldn't decide if that was a compliment or not.
I mean,
I don't know if I do.
That's probably
I think it's a compliment. Compliment enough?
She didn't frame it as either or, really.
No, she wasn't flirting. She was literally just saying, "You look like Joey Logano."
Well, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Thank you. Is it true?
It's not like not aware of him ever being voted like worst looking guy in NASCAR.
No, it's not as bad as being
like
compared to that fucking guy in the government. What's that guy that Booney said I look like? That guy's ugly as fuck.
I don't remember that one.
Because in the picture, like if straight on, I do kind of look like him, but he's ugly as fuck.
I don't remember that
Way
one.
ugly.
That's hilarious.
He is not handsome, whatever the fuck his name is.
Well, I don't know. What can you do?
But Joey Logano, NASCAR champ,
Yes.
is also a Guinness World Record holder
Yes.
for the longest Hot Wheel track, and it's like 1,800 feet or something.
So,
we could break that.
as much as I want to love this,
You don't like it?
I think it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, like half of those records are.
Well, okay, fine. Yeah, half is being generous.
I'm being very generous.
But so all he did was in his private garage, he set up a bunch of straightaways,
Yes,
joined together with 180-degree banked corners,
with the little
and the little like
motors.
spinning wheel accelerators every so often to keep the car moving.
Yes.
So basically, the only thing that's keeping you from breaking this record is space and money.
Yes.
It's not. I'm not. If it was, to me, a gravity-powered Hot Wheels track,
That's a whole separate record.
that's a record I'm interested in breaking.
Yeah, you could break this record, or not this record, but you could have a either shorter track or a different track without little accelerators, and then you'd also be the world's record holder for
Gravity.
Hot Wheel. Yeah, exactly.
Driven Hot Wheel, which
It's like the fastest door slamming Corvette with a T56 and a 4.3 whatever, a 3.3 gear ratio final drive, whatever. Fastest door slam right there.
it's cool.
It is.
It's neat.
It's fun. It's a good advertisement for Hot Wheels.
The way
'cause
it
that's what they
ended
did.
was pretty cool, where the car, or it got jumped into his Hot Wheels edition
Mustang.
and that was kind of cool.
They did American Burgouts.
and it was a fun video to watch, and I'm not mad about it.
No.
But I'm not as impressed as I think I thought I was going to be when I opened the article initially.
It would have been more fun if it had like 33 loops in it, or
Yeah,
solid.
that's the other thing. It's like it's kind of
it's a
like
snake.
you know how people want to drive. God, I can't think of that pass now that they drive in Top Gear.
Oh,
It's like that famous Swiss mountain road.
yeah. I know what you're talking about, but I can't.
But
think
like
of it.
all it is just like straight away 180-degree corner, straight away 180-degree corner, straight. That does not look like fun to me.
Hairpins are the worst.
Hairpins are the worst. And like I don't mind a hairpin occasionally, but I want it to have other things in between it besides straight lines and then immediately following another hairpin.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
That track or that road doesn't look fun to me.
No.
3 corners in, and I'm like, all right, well, when do we get to the bottom? Because this sucks.
Yeah, I'm just taking the stairs, apparently.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this track was. It was like, well, it's cool, and at first you're excited, but then you get a minute into the video, and all that car's done is go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in his shop, and you're like, all right, well,
Okay,
probably not. Let's see what it does a little farther ahead. Let's
skip ahead.
skip a little farther. Hey, look at that! It jumped into a car. Cool.
Yeah, so if you had, a few $1,000s worth of accelerators, you could
it's
do the
crazy
same thing.
money. So, I've been on a quest.
Do tell.
You know how I get on like finding
Yeah.
stuff, and like I refuse to just go online and buy it. Right? I
You're
get
very
on this-
stubborn that way.
I get on this quest,
I'm
and
the opposite.
and I go.
I need it yesterday.
Like I go to every store that sells Hot Wheel things in hopes that I'll finally find the thing I want, and I don't even know if they make it. I'm starting to think they don't.
Just looking.
All I want is the old style Hot Wheels track with like the screw that you attach to a shelf and a downhill slope and a loop and a ramp. That's all I want.
I am like 99% certain I know where there's one sitting.
Well, I don't want to go like, yeah,
It's
we have mine at home
Exactly.
that my parents have still,
Yep.
but I don't want that one.
See,
Because now it's a like, dude, I've been looking for like
They're out there.
I go into Walmart's, Targets, Baumgars, everything, any place.
you know what you need to be looking at?
that sells Hot Wheels.
Flea markets.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going
Thrift
to end up
stores
doing is going and
flea
buying
markets.
a used one. But I don't think that Hot Wheels currently makes
That original one.
that style of a track.
No,
But the thing is that like they're $40 fucking
for the basic track.
and they all use batteries, and they're all wildly, insanely overdone, and they've got like the shark that eats the car and the dinosaur that crushes the car, and it's just I don't want that.
No.
I just want a track that I can give. We can set up in Logan's room, and he can race it down the track and go around the loop and jump it off the end.
I want a loop and a ramp. It's not
That's
that hard.
hours of endless fun.
No, you don't even need the loop, just the ramp.
No, I want the loop.
I mean, you want it, but
The
I
loop
mean,
is
hours
important
of fun
for
is
me.
the ramp.
Well, I will
launch
agree
shit
with
across
that,
the
but
room.
I still want the loop.
I get that.
You
Completely.
can buy like Trackmaster packs, they call them, I think, or something
Okay.
like that, where it's just like a whole bunch of pieces of straight track you can just put together.
Yeah.
And like maybe a corner or two, and then like a couple of them come with a little zoom accelerator thing.
Yep.
But there's no ramps or loops.
Damn it. We could make a ramp if we have
That's
to.
not what I want to do, Robbie. Now it's a matter of principle.
I get it.
Now it's I have to prove a point.
I understand. You have to have that.
I'm not going to
There's
buy
no
anything
there's
else.
no sacrifice.
I'm not going to
It
buy
has to be in
anything
there.
else until I get what I want. Fuck the man.
Yeah, I'm curious if they actually do make just the generic.
Every time I'll go into Walmart or I'll go into Target or I'll go into wherever we are, right? And I'll look there and I think two things. Number one, I think I should just look on Amazon and see if it even fucking exists, first of all. Or is this a wild goose chase that's never going to end the way I want it?
The best part is all our fans are going to ruin this for you
Yeah, probably.
because they're going to post it up on the group like, it's right here. And you're
Yeah,
like, that's not what I want.
Yeah. And then the other thing I think every time I go into one of these stores is just want a Toys R Us back.
That was my next comment. I was going to say 100% chance if you would have walked into a Toys R
Dude,
Us,
they had
it'd be
2
there.
aisles of Hot Wheels.
Oh, you know what might have it? Farm and Fleet.
I've been to the Farm and Fleet.
Damn it.
Even after they put up all the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say the Kids Zone should
I've
have
been
it.
to Farm and Fleet. I've been to Tyson's. I've been to Baumgart's. Literally any place in the greater Des Moines area that I can find that sells Hot Wheels that's not like a hobby shop.
Yeah.
Which is probably where I'm going to go next.
I'm trying to think if there's any. I say Hobby Lobby wouldn't have it. Yeah, unless you have like a real niche.
I've gone into like Walgreens sells some toys and
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
some Hot Wheels in there.
No.
And they have A-Track and it's not what I want.
There was a place in Sioux Falls that was that way. They had all those hobby stuff.
Yeah.
That one might have it.
Yeah, there's a couple of those
That'd be my-
places here
that'd be my
too.
first place.
You just don't know them because
Yeah, I'm not.
you don't know
I
them,
don't
you
do
know?
that.
Yeah. The struggles of parenthood, Robbie.
Yes, it's for Logan.
Absolutely. It is, though. The end result is for Logan. The search is because I'm a stubborn moron.
I get that. See, I'm the opposite. If I think I want something, I need it yesterday, and I have to like order it.
Oh, trust me, it eats at my soul every single day that I don't have it.
Sunday night into Monday morning, so I get off work on Monday, and I'm talking to Jess. I'm like, I'm just tired. I just didn't sleep for shit last night. She goes, why didn't you sleep? You're like, you did nothing. Right? I mean, you had 4 days off of work.
This is the worst.
And then Sunday night, you got up early because she got up early, so I was up early. I actually had all the reason in the world to fall asleep early on Sunday, and I couldn't. The reason I couldn't is because in my head I'm like, I need all this hardware and all this stuff for my splitter, and I'm like imagining how I'm going to bracket it up and all the stuff I need.
Yep.
And I was up. In my eyes, I felt like I was up all fucking night, just mathematically doing all the I need 8 bolts here and I need 4 bolts there and some nuts and some block washers. And for some reason, instead of just sleeping and knowing that I can just get it tomorrow, I'm sitting there up all night just stressing about I need this now.
You're that meme.
I'm that meme?
Yeah,
Which
the
meme?
one where the chick and the dude, and they're laying in bed facing away from each other, and she's pissed because she's convinced he's thinking about girls, and he's over there thinking about why his car won't turn over.
It's never about the girls. It's
never
always
about the girls.
It's always about the fucking car, man.
Yeah, it is, or literally anything but girls, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
it's always well, if I use a 3.35 diff instead of the 4.1, I can just sit there doing that would make my top speed in fourth gear 136 versus 112. It's just like all that shit. And she's, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Math. I'm doing math.
I can't tell you because I don't want to look like an idiot. Nothing.
I'm thinking about other women. I mean,
it's probably better if you told her that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you're less weird, at least.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That would also confirm all of her suspicions, and so I think that's a win or a loss.
She was right,
technically,
for once. Hey-o.
Hey-o. Or she's always right. If you're listening, you're always
she doesn't
right.
Listen to this, of course.
No. She did when we first started dating.
Yeah,
as a way to try to impress me.
Right.
I think it's so funny.
Katie gets sucked into listening to it because sometimes I'll listen to old shows while we're driving places.
Yep.
Logan thinks it's funny to hear Daddy's voice on the radio.
Nice.
So
anyway,
what's next, Robbie?
Speaking of NASCAR.
Oh, man.
Because I like how you did this. You did toys, NASCAR and toys, NASCAR.
I thought that you would really enjoy that. At first, they weren't in that order because I just put them in the order I find them.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wait a second.
I can do better than that.
And you did.
And I knew you would really appreciate it.
It's the extra mile that you went.
It's the level of journalism standard that we have established.
Yeah, look at this setup. It's
absolutely.
sick.
The table's back. I'm excited to see the table again.
I'm not used to it because I keep bumping into shit.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
It's been a hot minute since we've been in our setting, so we'll get there. Probably not. NASCAR could expand to race on temporary street courses.
No.
You know what's really fun?
Not street courses.
Racing on street courses, yeah.
No,
I'm being sarcastic.
I don't like street courses.
I like the idea. I hate the execution.
I think that's very true. It sounds great in theory.
Because, like, the Des Moines Grand Prix sounds like the greatest thing I've missed out on in my entire life.
Maybe I need to go to one.
Maybe it's great in person. And maybe it's great if the cars are set up in a way that you could actually have decent racing.
Yeah, like if these were 80s Econo boxes, like a whole bunch of cars the size of my Omni, or even the size of your 240.
Oh, like a normal size car.
Yeah.
Not an extended Formula One car or a wide stock car.
I assume these cars are big.
They're not as small as you would think.
I would guess they're probably not.
No, they're not tiny.
No.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier too. Like Formula One in Monaco, it's not. You do it because it's tradition, but it's like the worst race of the year.
Everybody who I know that is a big Formula One fan, they're all like, I watch Monaco because it's Monaco and it's tradition, and I understand we have to do it, but it's not my favorite race. And I'm like, but
it's terrible racing. It's the year, not this year, last year, Ricardo won it, and he was down on power. He was 100 horsepower down, and no one could pass him.
Yeah, he
just kind of held up the pack.
Yeah, just don't mess up.
And you win.
In like 3 spots where they could pass, and the rest of the time they're stuck behind you whether they want to be or not.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it seems to be all street races turn into, because Macaw or whatever, it looks like it's a construction zone with cement barriers on either side of a 2-lane street.
It's so dangerous. It's unnecessarily dangerous.
You can go 2 cars wide, and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's not enough time to pass.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, they took the danger out of racing, and it's just not the same anymore. And to a small extent, I kind of agree with that. I won't disagree that I love that idea. I'm not entirely convinced that the increased safety is a bad thing.
No, it's not.
But there's a certain point where I think it's just silly, and like if it gave really good racing, but also amped up the danger level a little bit, but the racing was worth it,
yes,
that would be different. But not only is it more dangerous, but it's also worse racing most of the time.
Yes.
And so then why?
Because it sounds cool. It's a street race.
It does sound like it would be cool in theory.
It's NASCAR on the street presented by Monster and Kyle. And his fucking hat.
And Kyle, he says. Jesus Christ.
Because,
I love that NASCAR is looking at other options that aren't ovals.
Yes.
But I don't want this.
Because even Formula One in Miami sounds like it's going to be a shit show.
Dude, they're racing it on a parking lot. There's going to be a large section.
It's Formula One cross.
A large
autocross.
Dude, there's a Facebook group.
Good.
It's been a real shit show here lately called SCCA members. I don't know if you're a part of it or not.
I'm not, but I need to be apparently.
The Great Meme War of 2019 has been raging for literally a month or more. It's out of control, and there's constant bickering back and forth between age groups and race groups.
Oh boy.
It's between like your autocrossers versus road racers and your like millennials versus boomers.
Oh boy.
Dude,
It's
the perfect storm of absolute total
shit show
insanity. Every day there's somebody who's posting a meme talking shit about PAX, talking shit about Cam, talking shit about Spec Miata.
Yep.
Like just dude, there's 5 memes a day minimum.
So this was supposed to be a serious group to bring all the SCCA members
I've
together.
been in it for probably 2 or 3 years now, and it used to just be like people like, hey, thinking about making the step from autocross to road racing and just kind of trying to decide like this is kind of where I'm at. Like, what do you guys think? And just like, or we got a couple new board members. I don't think it's officially sanctioned by the SCCA, but there's a lot of like official SCCA talk on there. There used to be anyway. Like, these are our new board members. This is our new such and such. Look at what Hayward Wagner fucked up now. That sort of stuff, All the classic,
all the bitching,
the classic stuff,
SCCA
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't have a splitter that's more than 4 inches tall?
Right. Well, now it's like this war zone that's centered around memes. Because you know how like sometimes old people don't understand that memes are jokes.
Oh yeah, no,
that's where it started. And then like the number of people in this kind of like exploded. The number of people in the group, it just got huge, and now it's a shit show.
I literally just went through Facebook and purged a lot of that group. Not that group, but like groups like that, or groups I'm not really affiliated with or do anything with. Right. Like, it was really a sad day because I went through and deleted a bunch of like skating stuff. I was like, I don't follow you anymore, guys.
Yeah, I don't care.
I wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't care what you're doing. And
I get
skating's not cool anymore because health insurance is so shitty that no one's got the balls to do anything anymore because they can't afford to get hurt. So it's lame now.
Yeah, so it's like
that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Dancing on parking curbs, and it's just not that interesting.
It's not fun anymore. No one's jumping off of buildings like they used to.
They're not doing like 3-story drop rails and stuff like that.
I know. So I was just like, I'm done. I've moved on.
Old days.
Back in my day, kids were jumping off of buildings.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it.
So have I. I broke an arm.
Broken both of them.
Have you tried breaking an arm
multiple times?
Can you break an arm in 2019? Fuck no. You're bankrupt.
I mean, I can, but hopefully I did it at work, and then I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, but if you're skating, you didn't.
Well, no, I didn't.
You can't afford to get hurt skating anymore.
You're telling me.
So, NASCAR. If they could race on streets that were 4 lanes wide, maybe, and somehow make that work. I don't know where you could possibly do it, because even the streets of Long Beach only works for drifting, in my eyes.
So, yeah, okay.
I mean, drifting on the street is fine, because you don't need overpassing or passing and 4 lanes.
You don't even want it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and getting close to the wall is fun and exciting.
Yes. But having a 2-lane wide street race doesn't really work.
Right. Also, public infrastructure is a shit show, and most of our roads straight suck.
Yeah.
At least around here. And from what I've gathered on the internet, it's not much better other places.
No, it's a crisis we're all dealing with.
Cities tend to be the worst because they have the most traffic, and it's also the hardest to take care of because of the traffic.
Because people bitch when you shut it down.
And they're not going to do a race in Nevada, Iowa. Our roads aren't that bad because nobody drives on them. But they're not going to do a race there.
No.
So maybe this isn't a good idea.
No. We'll see if they can prove me wrong, but I'd be shocked if they had a decent race out of it. No. You might get a good weekend. You might get a lot of TV exposure. It might be a air quote success. I don't think you're gonna like your diehard fans and the people that give a shit about racing and that aren't there just to drink beer and watch cars crash.
Right.
It depends on what crowd you're going after. If you're going after the car crashing crowd, maybe it'll be a success. If you're going after the racing crowd that actually follow the points, that understand your playoff system, that understands
Nobody understands their playoff system.
But if they
their own
do,
drivers don't understand. They got in trouble and fined, and people got banned for life because they didn't do it right.
Right. But if there's a handful of fans that do care about the playoffs, those are not the ones that are going to be enjoying these races.
No.
So it's
One other interesting and slightly controversial viewpoint that I've heard.
Let's go.
Over the last year or so, Formula E is all street circuits.
Yes.
All in city, and they're in places that don't have street races or street circuits for anybody else.
Right.
Formula One or Formula 2 or any sports cars are not doing street course racing in these places.
Correct.
And part of the reason that they get away with that with Formula E is because the cars are so much quieter. They're less disruptive in those places. And despite the fact that I don't know that there's a group of people on this planet I hate more than the people who move near a racetrack and then try to get it shut down because it's too loud and noisy.
No, there's a special place in hell for them.
I think that is something we should maybe be thinking about if we want to do street courses, because
you're taking the cars and putting them in those people's yards.
So if I stop and I think about how much I think the whole RAGBRAI thing is insane and stupid and annoying, and I just every year that the route is announced, I look at it to make sure it's not going to disrupt my life,
like it did for me this year.
Right. Well, there's no reason, people are going to feel the same way about a street course shutting down their way to work, their way home, their way to the grocery store, whatever.
Right.
For
it's at least a week.
At least a week. I mean, that would annoy me. That would suck.
Even if I'm a fan of the event, I'm still going to be kind of annoyed by it.
And I don't in a time where I don't want to cater to these people who get mad about every little thing.
Correct.
But it is something we kind of need to think about. And I'm not sure that this is going to bring more eyes to the sport. It's just going to piss off the people it directly affects, and they're not going to want it, and they're going to be vocal about making sure it never happens again.
Guaranteed every place you suggest will immediately get a petition to have it removed.
And the more people we piss off with race cars, the harder it's going to be to continue doing it, even in the places where we want to do it.
And
at racetracks.
Yeah.
So I don't know that this is good long term for us either.
No. Street racing is not the answer.
Like Formula E, they try to say, oh, our cars are quiet, so the racing is less disruptive. But I don't think the race is the issue. I think the days leading up to and following after are what would annoy me.
It's all the streets shut down for that, and then not only that, but Formula E also has diesel generators charging batteries from the second they get there to the second they leave.
Yeah, well, I'm not even thinking. I'm not even thinking about that stuff. But the other thing, how much of a shit show is getting in and out of downtown on a normal day?
Oh,
even downtown Des Moines, which is a relatively small downtown system.
Des Moines is easy, and it's still a shit show.
It still sucks. And then you go to Newton, and you go drive by the Speedway, and the exit leading up to it, and then leading away from it, have a mile of a third lane for people to get off and onto the interstate as they leave that racetrack in large numbers.
Yep.
That the infrastructure is designed to support the 100,000 people they thought might show up. That's not going to work here.
No, not at all.
That would suck.
Yeah, you'll have a traffic jam literally everywhere.
It'd be miserable.
Yeah,
I stay out of.
It'll never be easy, and it'll never be good.
I stay out of Ames when there's home football games because I just know it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah,
and it annoys me. I know that football's not going anywhere, but I feel like racing, that's not something we should be striving to do to the general public.
Right.
And putting this downtown in a city is not going to make people be like, man, that racing stuff was cool.
It was super inconvenient for 7 days, and now
they're going to be mad about it, and they're going to be less into it, and they're going to be vocal about it not being a thing anymore. And we don't need that right now.
No.
I don't want street courses.
Nah, I'm out.
There's plenty of road courses they aren't going to. They could.
Yeah, there's a lot of tracks out there that are not being used correctly.
So,
speaking of other opinions I disagree with,
I hope this is not. This is a real thing.
So, if I understand this correctly, the Volkswagen America CEO sees that the youth rebellion are going to rebel against the SUVs and crossovers and buy sedans. And I mean, that's great to the enthusiast and that's fun to think about, but sales numbers don't lie. I mean, Ford's literally cutting all their sedans because they're not fucking selling.
Well, so first of all, I think that when he talks about the used, I think he's talking about people who are not even old enough to consider buying cars right now. Like,
oh, you're talking? Is he talking about 10, 20 years from now?
I think he's talking like this isn't going to happen in 2021. No. I think he's talking in 2030. The youths of today, when they're buying cars in 2030, are not going to want crossovers.
Maybe.
And
I think
I think the American buying public in almost anything is very, very cyclical.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going to go with it. Because
and so I think he's probably right that we probably are going to decide, I'm tired of, I don't want a crossover because that's what my parents drove, and I don't want to be my parents, even though everybody ends up being their parents in the end. But we got to fight that, right? You got to
rebel.
You can't be that for as long as you can be. Eventually, you're going to be, but that doesn't mean you have to buy a crossover. And I think that's kind of where he's seeing this. I don't think he's talking in the next year, in the next 2 years. The problem I see is that it's going to be hard for them to not buy crossovers.
Yeah. Oh, and if new car prices keep doing what they do, and new people in the market that are buying cars, no, they're definitely not going to be affording new cars like that.
They can't. And I would bet you that if you look at demographics of car buyers,
yes,
an overwhelming majority of new car buyers, I would guess, are in their late 30s and up. Just as a ballpark number.
For sure.
I would guess. And late 30s might even be a little generous.
Yeah, we'll go with it, though.
But you're getting in there. You're getting closer. Your late 30s into your 40s and 50s, that's where you're buying brand new cars.
Right.
And those people right now are our parents.
Yes.
And a little bit of the generation after them. Because my parents are almost into their 60s. This year they'll be both turning 60, 2020. But, so... And if you look at the younger demographic, most of the people that I know who have bought brand new vehicles bought cars.
Like sedans?
Bought sedans. They bought small. And that's not even my car guy friends.
Right.
Like one of Katie's best friends recently bought a brand new Mitsubishi Mirage. It's mostly because that's what she can afford, and she's being realistic about it, and she didn't go out and buy a $30,000 Toyota RAV4 hybrid.
Right.
She bought a $12,000 Mitsubishi Mirage because she wanted a car that was reliable and had a warranty, but she didn't want a payment that was going to crush her. She's a smart human being.
Yeah.
I think there's too many people who aren't. But, and then my old coworker Bob, he bought a Cruise.
Yeah.
And even my car guy friends, the few of them that buy brand new brand new things, they bought brand new cars and bought used trucks and used track cars and fun cars.
Right.
But their daily drivers, when they went out and bought a brand new vehicle, they bought a car. But when I look at the older people I know, the people I work for, the people I work with, my parents' friends, they bought crossovers. They bought big SUVs. They bought full-size trucks as their dailies.
Yes.
That, I think, is also a trend that you might be able to look at.
Yeah, I guess I won't disagree with that.
Now, that's not all true.
No.
I do. The other thing is that a lot of the people I know who bought used cars didn't buy cars. They bought SUVs and trucks and crossovers. But maybe that's because the cars are still the cheapest thing you can buy, and people are just buying new cars people who are buying new vehicles don't have the money to buy new $50,000 crossovers.
Exactly.
They have the money to buy new $20,000 cruises.
Yep, and I think another big. I think that's going to play a bigger role in it is going to be what are gas prices. What's it going to cost? Because I
in 10 years, do you think that gas prices are going to matter?
Potentially.
I think that let's go with propulsion method prices.
Yeah, I think that'll catch up too, though. I think you're going to have to find a way to.
Well, I still think that one of the biggest flaws with electric cars is our power infrastructure.
Yeah, and even if you get that completely, I mean, the
only way it's going to get solved is by money. And the only way the only place that money is going to come from is an increase in the rates to purchase the power. So it's going to electricity is cheaper than gas today.
Right.
But if we used more electricity than we used gas, I don't know that it would stay that way.
No, not at all.
I'm not convinced that it would.
No, there's no way.
So
yeah, I would be shocked to see the sales trends go that dramatic without some sort of gas crisis or something.
Yeah.
But I think most people are buying one car that meets their needs the best, that they think meets their needs the best. So it's a compromise. And if you're going to compromise, you're not going to compromise for something that's the smallest. Or
right.
Like it. And I think that's why crossovers are doing as well as they are, because they're, again, in Iowa, you see it especially because you're like, well, they think they need all-wheel drive. You think they need 12 inches of clearance. You need something that's big enough to fit 6 golf bags, whatever. But you get all these people that they're going to compromise, and they're compromising. I'm going to get one that's a little bigger, a little taller, that's going to fit a little bit more in case my situation changes and I decide to have kids. Because if you have a Chevy Cruze and you're like, I'm going to have kids. Okay, now you're with a minivan. So I think you find those people that are kind of planning ahead, and then cars are just an accessory. It's the ultimate compromise on what do I only need one for.
See, I still think that it's a compromise.
For sure.
That's my biggest problem with crossovers, as we've talked about many, many times. Either buy a car or buy a van. Don't buy something in the middle. Just suck it up and buy a minivan. They're fucking great.
I won't disagree.
They're so good.
That's where he said it. On episode 194. Where he talks about how great he loves his minivan.
I've said it more than once. I think minivans are great.
Anyways.
People who hate minivans have never owned a minivan.
They're so convenient.
They're so good, dude. That sliding door will change your life. Will change your life.
Yep. But yeah, I would be shocked to see a full pendulum swing back to sedans away from what we're seeing now.
I just think that they'll take more market share, if anything.
Yeah, I see less niche cars and just more faceless utility cars that
less without having them at all.
I think so. I think that's the direction I think we're heading.
I think
as a country.
I think you'll end up with brands that do niche and brands that don't, which we basically have now.
Fair enough.
But Ford's getting rid of any little niche they had that wasn't the Mustang,
right?
And GM all but has as well.
Yeah, I mean GM's got the Camaro and the Corvette.
Yeah, but Ford still has the Mustang,
right?
GM doesn't have a fun small car. The Cruze RS is not the Focus ST.
No, it is not.
I mean, I'm not saying that the Cruze RS isn't a little bit of a fun car, but it sure as hell is not a Focus ST.
No, and it's not going to stick around.
Yeah, well, neither is Focus ST. Right. It's dead. But
so yeah, we'll see if there's a full pendulum swing, and then we switch back to wagon sedans and
Buick's killing all Regals, including the wagon. So there goes basically the only wagon that we could get within reasonable grasps in the United States.
Yeah.
I think Volvo still makes a few, but I think that they were a good bit more money than a Regal.
Yeah,
and I guess Audi's bringing the A6, S6, RS6 platformed Avant here, but an A6 Avant's got to start at 60, and an RS6 is well into the hundreds. Yeah. So that's not a real thing.
Not an option.
I think that when Audi announced we're bringing the RS6 Avant to America, I think it was literally just like all right, you fucking Americans.
You said you wanted it.
You guys have been begging for this car for 2 decades. Here it is. We're ready to sell 3 of them, and then we can tell you we're never doing this again.
We gave what you wanted. Turns out you didn't really want it. Yeah.
But the people who want it can't afford it.
Right.
I sure as hell couldn't. I'd kill for it.
Right.
It'd be the coolest thing in the world. But I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I can't even come close. It'd be more than my house payment.
Oh, for
By
sure.
a huge margin.
Yeah, it'd be a very, very expensive.
That'd be what my house cost.
Be right up there.
I bet you, like, even a mildly optioned RS6 Avant will cost more than what I paid for my house.
Oh, easily. Those cars are way,
and I
way
don't think
expensive.
that they'll give me a 30-year mortgage on it.
No, they'll give you 0% APR financing for a couple of years, and then
yeah,
7%.
If I can get a 30-year mortgage on a car, I mean, even I'm not that stupid. But I might think about it.
Fucking underwater.
When I was looking at a house, we found a house that was like $20,000 or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, $20,000 over 30 years. That's a payment I can get my head around. And my mom's like, that's not how it works. Like, damn it, dang it! Thought I found a loophole.
Nope.
So
what could you buy for $20,000?
It wasn't much.
I was gonna say it's got to be like a trailer on a plot of land.
That was the other thing is that like it was a $20,000 house, and if you had another $50,000, it would be $100,000 house.
Oh,
but you can't take out a mortgage for $70,000, apparently, or at least that wasn't an easy thing to do.
No, you'd need like a special.
Yeah, there was a bunch of extra bullshit, and that wasn't going to happen.
No,
it was just not what I was going to do. So
you didn't want your whole life to be surrounded by rebuilding that house.
Not to start with. I wanted to just move into it. So. I'm sure somebody bought it and flipped it.
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure that's what they did.
It was a perfect house for it if you had the capital.
Yeah.
And the time.
But I don't.
No.
I have neither of those.
No.
I'm not sure which I have less of. Probably capital, but time's pretty close.
We got this podcast. That's much more important.
So busy.
Yeah. We're like way busier than Adam Jabaay thinks he is.
That's probably true.
I mean, he was on the show for half the time that we were in.
It's true.
But we're going to end it right now, though.
I think we should.
We'll probably be back next week, maybe.
The world will never know.
But the plan is to do a bunch of stuff over when we're at PRI.
Yeah, we'll have a PRI recap like we always do.
You know, stuff from PRI.
Excited about
so it'll
it.
be good.
PRI's going to be fun.
We'll try to get something in before then, though.
House.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Nice little getaway.
It's been a while since I've done anything car related now.
Besides working on cars, it's been since
NCM. Just like getting out and hanging out with. This has been longer for me.
Oh yeah, see, NCM was my last one.
I can't think of what the last time it would have been for me. It's been a while.
I got the SCCA banquet on Saturday.
Oh yeah, there you go.
We can talk about that, I guess, next week.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm sure there's something to say.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll try to get you next week.